I'm only going to say this once, so listen carefully. I, Vegeta, Prince of all Saiyans, would like to offer you, Kakarot.
Now, I could probably spend hours on end talking about these episodes, but to avoid making this video 3 hours long, I want to focus on one aspect of these episodes: the symbolism and visual storytelling. To begin with, let's talk about those two Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa, who follow the classic big guy, little guy trope, which is found all over Dragon Ball. But this is probably the most memorable use of the trope because of how these designs inform their characters. Nappa is very much the more physically imposing of the two, and it's shown that Vegeta is more so the brains of the operation. However, when we see them come into contact with our heroes, we begin to understand that, despite his short stature, Vegeta is clearly the stronger and more terrifying of the two. Despite that though, as soon as they set foot on Earth, Nappa immediately takes a city off the map. Just seeing all the characters react to this event builds tension, and from there, Vegeta and Nappa make their approach to Piccolo and Gohan. When the Saiyans arrive, they make it clear that they are here for the Dragon Balls, and that they will kill anyone in their path. Apart from Piccolo, because as they reveal that Piccolo is actually an alien, and his race, the Namekians, are the ones who created the Dragon Balls, and they believe that he might hold knowledge to where they are on Earth. Little do they know that the Dragon Balls have already been used to bring back Goku, making them inactive for a year. Despite this though, to actually get home, Goku has to unexpectedly travel back along Snake Way. Due to his new skills, he will get there in about a day. That might not seem long, but as you will see, it's going to be hard for anyone to even survive that long against these two. Before the Saiyans start fighting, they unleash the Cybermen, artificial soldiers that grow from the ground. Shortly after the rest of the gang arrive, everything just kicks off. The Cybermen are said to be as strong as Raditz, so when Tien absolutely demolishes one of them, we see how far these guys have come during their training. However, this small victory is undercut when Vegeta kills that Cyberman for failing to kill Tien. Death is now truly in the air. Krillin steps up next, but Yamcha requests to take his place, due to Krillin already being wished back before by the Dragon Balls, meaning if he dies, he's gone for good. Yamcha puts up a good fight, but ends up getting killed when one of the Cybermen latches onto him and self-destructs. This moment has been made fun of loads, but if you actually look at it in a broader context, this death is a sacrifice. If Krillin fought in Yamcha's place, he might have died the same way, and he would be dead for good. This death leads to Krillin killing the other Cybermen in anger, which leads to Nappa finally stepping up. This fight is a massacre. Tien gets his arm punched off and Chaozu blows himself up to kill Nappa, and it does nothing. This then leads to Tien using his most powerful attack. So powerful, Tien dies shortly after using it. But it does nothing but crack Nappa's armor. These two deaths are also sacrifices, but these moments of strength and courage do nothing to slow Nappa down. All of that training, all of those episodes, and it still wasn't enough. It's just heartbreaking, and the person who is being affected the most by this is Gohan. Gohan is unable to act when a Cyberman attacks him, leading to Piccolo having to step in, and he is unable to act again when Piccolo and Krillin set up an opening for him to attack Nappa. In these moments, Gohan is completely terrified. As said before, in the manga there is no real deep character development for Gohan. He was a scared child against Raditz, and he's the same here. So it could be said that his added development through those filler episodes doesn't really play into the main continuity. However, I would argue that despite everything Gohan went through during his time in the wild and his training with Piccolo, nothing could have prepared him for death on this scale. When I watched these episodes as a kid, I feel like I was pretty much put into Gohan's POV, because I had never seen death and violence on this scale before. So, to see all that build-up, all that hope that came from all the training, come crumbling down is just perfectly bitter for this section of the story. All that build-up gave me hope that they would be ready, that Gohan would be ready. But, as it seems now, they're just not. And even Piccolo, the guy trying to keep things together, is shocked at just how strong Nappa is. And he is the second in command. In this moment when all hope seems lost, Krillin begs for Goku to arrive. Vegeta only knows him by his Saiyan name, so when he asks Krillin who he is curious why they have so much hope in someone who was weaker than Raditz, and someone who is also supposed to be dead. So, he gives Piccolo and the others 3 hours to wait for Goku to arrive. During this time, Piccolo shows great disappointment towards Gohan for how he has acted. But we hear in his head that this is less disappointment and more frustration. There is something going on with Piccolo. Something that his other self Kami foretold. A deep conflict that we are only now beginning to understand. Goku is still nowhere to be seen, so the fighting resumes. Piccolo plans to grab Nappa's tail due to the fact that was Raditz's weak point. However, Piccolo learns that due to their elite status, both Nappa and Vegeta have learned to control this weakness. This leads to both Piccolo and Krillin being put out of commission, leaving Gohan alone with no one to protect him. And in this moment, he attacks Nappa and takes him off his feet. This moment of success is short-lived, when Nappa fires a ki blast at Gohan. In this moment, everything just slows down. The theme of sacrifice has been present in this story since the beginning, when Goku, the main character, gives his life to stop his brother. The theme then carries over to the likes of Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu. These moments of sacrifice truly define these characters as heroes, defenders of Earth. Piccolo, just 5 years prior, was the Earth's greatest threat, a madman who wanted nothing more but to kill Goku and rule the world. Then, Piccolo kills Goku and his purpose is fulfilled. After this, he does kidnap Gohan, but it's to ensure the Earth's safety. Piccolo is clear that when this is all over, his alliance with the heroes is terminated. And everyone believes him, apart from Kami, who believes that Piccolo on some level has changed. It's as if killing Goku has left him empty. Kami reveals that in 1 year, he will die. Either Piccolo will die in battle, or Kami will die of old age. And he believes Piccolo knows this as well, and training Gohan is his way of leaving behind some kind of legacy. Now in this moment, when Gohan is about to die, Piccolo jumps in the way of Nappa's attack, trading his own life for Gohan. Not only does this moment define Piccolo's care for Gohan, it defines Piccolo's new identity as a hero, due to him making the same sacrifice Goku, Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu did. In regards to how this is presented, visually, the animation shifts to a beautiful black and white, as Piccolo's body is ripped apart, and Kikuchi's score gives this scene a haunting, almost operatic feel. Piccolo, the reincarnation of the Demon King, dies protecting the son of the man he was born to kill. Piccolo's death brings the end of Kame's life as well, and with the creator of the Dragon Balls dead, the Dragon Balls turn to stone for good, meaning that no one can be brought back to life. The death of his master and friend finally motivates Gohan into standing up to Nappa, but despite all the strength and power Gohan can dish out, nothing can stop Nappa. And in Gohan's final moments, he just accepts his end. Until he finds himself floating above the ground on a familiar cloud. Everyone in the scene is confused until Vegeta looks up to see that Goku has arrived. As said before, something that made this arc just so exciting to watch was this sense of build-up and anticipation. Before this, the build-up was leading to the Saiyans arriving, but now the situation against them has grown to a point of just pure hopelessness. The anticipation is the build-up of Goku finally arriving, and after all of this violence, all of this death, to see him finally arrive is just so exciting and just so satisfying to see. Despite this though, it is a pretty familiar sight. Goku's here to pull a Deus Ex Machina, defeat the villains and save the day, but what made this moment stand out from the rest is what led up to it. This is King Kai, a master comedian who is also a martial arts master on the side. In order to train Goku, we see yet another unexpected turn. Goku's first lesson is to catch a monkey, but this unconventional training is exactly what Goku needs to win. King Kai's planet, as said before, is very small, which also means it has a strong centre of gravity, making it heavier to stand. Goku can barely even move around when he first sets foot on the planet. King Kai's pet monkey Bubbles is adapted to the world, meaning if Goku can catch him, he will also adapt. And in true Goku fashion, he doesn't argue with this training, he puts in the work and gets it done. In exact terms, the gravity of King Kai's world is 10 times of Earth's gravity, which is about the same as the Saiyans' homeworld. This is why the Saiyans are so strong. They are adapted to a stronger gravity, meaning that on Earth, they are quicker and far stronger. So, Goku's complete domination over Nappa is both cathartic but also earned. Many times, characters within Dragon Ball train and come back with a bigger number, and I guess in some ways it's the same here, but the difference is that Goku actually has an in-law reason to why he is stronger. Beyond that, this scene is earned because of how much Goku has had to overcome to get to this point. He died, travelled across Snake Way, challenged the ogres of hell, defeated Princess Snake, mastered the environment of King Kai's planet, and mastered King Kai's techniques. Now, back from the dead, he is going to defeat the last members of his kin and prove that what makes him truly great is not his heritage, but it's who he is. And he will protect his true home, planet Earth, and no one can stop him. Vegeta had called off Nappa in anger of his inability to even touch Goku. He would now be stepping in Nappa's place. Nappa agrees, but then turns his eyes to Gohan and Krillin. In that moment, Goku is forced to use the Kaioken, a technique he learned from King Kai, and he uses it to paralyze Nappa. Goku tells Vegeta he needs to leave to get Nappa help before he is permanently damaged, and Nappa asks for Vegeta to help him. Instead, Vegeta throws his partner into the air and blows him away, without a moment of hesitation. Goku's look of shock is absolutely chilling. Perhaps nothing could have prepared him for this opponent. As we move into the final battle of this arc, the focus is drawn directly on the dynamic between Goku and Vegeta. And this dynamic is so great because it is rooted in so many themes, one of which being class. Vegeta is not only a strong Saiyan, he is royalty, the last prince of the Saiyans. His strength was not earned, it was passed down through blood. Goku, on the other hand, was born a lower class Saiyan, meaning that he was deemed weak and ineffective in battle. However, Goku would go on to become the strongest man on planet Earth, through the many teachings passed down to him, and the many hardships he had to overcome. In this arc alone, Goku has had to earn his strength, through his determination and his never give up attitude. This in many ways is what makes Goku and Vegeta polar opposites. What truly makes this dynamic of class work so well is how it's shown visually. This iconic shot of the two standing off against each other presents this class divide perfectly, with Vegeta towering over Goku. Vegeta is the upper class royalty, looking down at Goku, mocking him for even thinking that he can win. But as we know from Goku, no matter the odds, he will never back down from a challenge. When they start fighting, Vegeta again towers over Goku in both speed and strength, until Goku pushes himself to his limits and uses the Kaioken. The Kaioken is the technique he used earlier to defeat Nappa. It's a power that engulfs Goku in a red aura, increasing his speed, strength, even eyesight and hearing. However, it comes at a cost. While using it, it tears the body apart, and if Goku uses it too much, he could die. So before Goku is set off by King Kai gives him a warning. Never multiply the Kaioken over 2 times. Now Goku stands before Vegeta, unscathed by a ×2 Kaioken attack. He is left with no choice. This moment, when Goku finally gets the upper hand on Vegeta, is just perfect. It's quick and effective, and you truly feel how fast Goku is, and how hard his punches are hitting. But what makes it so good is that the Kaioken as a technique perfectly shows what kind of person Goku is, compared to Vegeta. In no way is the Kaioken a shortcut. Every hit Goku lands on Vegeta is hurting him as well. So, every hit he lands is earned because of this trade-off. But it's also earned because this technique wasn't something he was born with. He had to overcome all of these obstacles to even get to King Kai so he could learn this technique. Vegeta then completely loses it and flies up into the sky and begins charging an attack that could level the earth. Despite how damaged he is from using the Kaioken ×3, Goku has no choice but to counter this attack. He powers up and begins charging the biggest Kamehameha of his life. This class divide between the two is shown again visually, with Vegeta high in the sky and Goku down on the ground. He is literally and figuratively the only thing standing between Vegeta and planet Earth. When both Goku and Vegeta let off their beams, Vegeta again begins to gain ground. Until... I have no words to describe how amazing this moment is. Upon saying those words, Goku's blast doubles in size, and sends Vegeta flying. Goku is now completely drained of power, and unfortunately, Vegeta is damaged but still alive. Vegeta realizes that his only option left is to transform into the Ozaru. King Kai, who is watching the battle from the heavens, believes that this is impossible due to Piccolo destroying the moon when Gohan transformed. However, when Vegeta comes back into the fight, he reveals that the Saiyans have come up with a way of generating a fake moon. Goku has no idea what he's talking about. The transformation has always been kept a secret from him when he transformed as a child. Until now. In the same way the Kaioken showed what kind of person Goku was, in the way the power demonstrated his struggle and hard work, the Ozaru does the same for Vegeta, but in the opposite way. The Ozaru, unlike the Kaioken, has no drawbacks. Even its huge size makes no difference in its speed. Vegeta is even able to speak in this form. All it does is give Vegeta pure power. Power that is not earned. The Ozaru form is not learned, it's a form all Saiyans have from birth. The visual storytelling and symbolism that comes with the Kaioken and the Ozaru perfectly showcase the battle between lower and upper class, power gained through hard work and discipline, versus inherited power. Even though the Ozaru overcomes Goku, he has proven that, in spirit, he is the better warrior, forcing Vegeta to use a transformation made to destroy worlds. Here, it will destroy one man. The way Goku basically just accepts his death to this monster is so heartfelt, but Goku is not alone. When training with King Kai, Goku learned another technique, the Spirit Bomb. If the Kaioken was a technique that drawed upon the self, the Spirit Bomb draws upon others. When Goku raises his hands in the air, he is able to call upon energy from other living beings, and form it into a giant ball of energy. Goku tries using it against Vegeta when he's in his Ozaru form, but is stopped before he can throw it. Now his final chance at defeating Vegeta is lost. However, upon seeing the artificial moon in the sky, Gohan suspects that something is wrong, and comes to his father's rescue, alongside Krillin and Yajirobe, another one of Goku's friends watching from the sidelines. Before this, we have discussed themes of sacrifice and class, expressed through symbolism and visual storytelling. But we've arrived at a theme that has been lingering in this story since the very beginning. That theme being that raw power isn't the only key to victory. The Saiyans simply boil down someone's strength to a number, but the heroes of this story are not like that. Because of their years of mastery of ki and martial arts, they are able to bend their power, heighten or lower their ki to however they want. And beyond that, they also have a just collection of different techniques and abilities that they are able to use that the Saiyans can never see coming. The reason why the heroes are able to triumph is not because of their biology or their determined strength or their inherited strength. It's because of who they are. It's because of the teachings that they have inherited. And another quality that comes with these heroes is their sense of community and their tendency to collaborate. Vegeta very clearly rejects this sense of collaboration. As soon as Goku defeats Nappa, Vegeta throws him away like he's nothing. But this very much leads to his downfall, because, as we see, just like Goku and Piccolo worked together to defeat Raditz, Yajirobe, Krillin and Gohan band together to finally defeat Vegeta. You see, Vegeta may have the bigger number, but they have the collaboration, the teamwork, and the years of skill and dedication standing behind them. And in the same way the Kaioken showcase symbolism, the spirit bomb could be seen as a metaphor for collaboration. This part of the fight is also the payoff of Gohan's story. In order to form another spirit bomb, Gohan has to buy some time and stand up to Vegeta. And even after Vegeta survives the spirit bomb, Gohan is the one who puts him down, when Gohan turns into an Ozaru, visually reframing Earth's destroyer as its saviour. Vegeta as a character only embraces raw power. He believes that that's all that matters in life. So it's so satisfying to see him get defeated by the very ideals that he rejects. Then, when all the dust settles, to truly hit this message home that raw strength isn't everything, the person who now stands over the great prince of all Saiyans is Krillin. When Krillin goes to finally kill Vegeta, Goku requests that Krillin spares him. In the version that I watched as a kid, Goku's reasoning for doing this was much more noble compared to the manga. But to look beyond that and just look at the moment on paper, this scene comes back to the unexpected nature of Dragon Ball. When I watched this arc for the first time, it felt like I went on a massive journey with these characters. And to see the story end like this, in such an unexpected way, it made me want to just see what would happen next. And there we have it. That's the first arc of Dragon Ball Z. And I know, that was a bit rambly, a bit all over the place, and way too long, but I never really wanted this video to be a detailed review of the Saiyan saga. I mainly just wanted to go through it and highlight aspects of the story that stood out to me back then and today, and try and in some way evaluate why it hooked me so much and got me into the series. After watching the Saiyan saga, my desire to continue watching the show hit its true breaking point when I played Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2. My brother actually bought this game around the time when we watched the Saiyan saga, so because of that, I'm always going to have a really strong nostalgic connection to this game. But I will say back then it was a bit of a chore to play because my brother would always, kick my ass. But I feel like if we had a rematch today, it would be a much different story. Beyond the gameplay though, there are two things that really ignited my interest in the series. Firstly, the game forgoes a traditional story mode in favour of the Galaxy mode. In this mode, every character in the game has a series of battles that roughly relate to the battles the characters took place in during the series. A lot of people dislike this, but for someone who didn't really know much about the series, it was perfect because it didn't really spoil any story details. I mainly just had this large roster of mostly unknown characters, with the game telling me how this character relates to this character and this character relates to that character. So it just made me want to dive deep into the series and understand all of this madness. I mean, one time I remember my brother telling me that, well, you see, this Trunks here is from the future, and from there I was hooked. I had to see what the hell he was talking about. But the thing that this game included that really made me want to watch the series was the museum pictures. And, okay, hear me out. I am probably the only person on planet Earth right now who is both thinking about this and actually cares about this, so just listen. In the Galaxy mode, as well as unlocking characters and costumes, you could also unlock these little screenshots from the series. To some, this may seem like a lazy unlockable, but to me back then, it was everything. I had only seen the Saiyan saga, so seeing these little teasers of what was to come was so intriguing. And I mean, come on, they included concept art, and also I had watched the series on the orange bricks, where they had butchered the footage of the series, as I said before. But here, I was able to see the series how it was meant to look. These screenshots were in a far better quality, and it's just night and day. After playing this game, I went on to buy the rest of the orange bricks, and I watched all of DBZ. I also went on to watch the original Dragon Ball, GT and Super, and in a blink of an eye, I was now a hardcore Dragon Ball fan. Now here I am today, and nothing has changed. I'm still a Dragon Ball fan, and I hope that by going through my history with the series, I've given some reasons to why I'm such a fan. And I hope it inspires others to reflect on how they got into the series, or really reflect on any piece of media that really connects with you and why you're such a fan of it. But we're still left with a question, aren't we? Why Dragon Ball? What makes it so special? And I hope that by going through the Saiyan saga, I've given you an idea to why I love this series so much. The unexpected twists and turns, the filler episodes that add so much depth to both the characters and the world, and all of that leading to a amazing final battle that pays everything off and contains imagery and themes that I've broken down and found the meaning behind. However, as amazing as all that stuff is, I do think there's a deeper reason to why I love Dragon Ball. That reason is that Dragon Ball to me is more than just a story. I didn't have a lot of friends, and looking back on it, I was mostly just isolating myself. It was a hard time, but one day I was looking through the library and I found this book, Volume 22 of Dragon Ball Z, which covered chapters 446 to 459. I was already a fan at this point, but this was my first exposure to the manga, the direct work of Toriyama. So I picked it up and I read it. I read it again. I read it again and again and again, to the point where most of my time in secondary school, I probably had this book in my bag. During my days of struggle, a piece of Dragon Ball would always be with me. I could open up that book and be transported to another world. But it goes deeper than that. When I was transported to that other world, I get taken back to a simpler time in my life. I'm taken back to my brother's room, where I watched Dragon Ball for the first time. However, that simple time in my life came to an end, and I would go on to experience a lot of change in my life. Change that would bring a lot of struggle. But through all of that struggle, Dragon Ball was always there. Dragon Ball is so important to me because of the way it inspires me and gives me so much joy and passion. But beyond that, Dragon Ball is a friend that I can turn to in my lowest moments.